This video is designed to provide Walmart associates with best practices for optimizing the effectiveness of the Diamabrush polishing system. Using the Diamabrush system provides our stores the ability to restore store floors ourselves while maintaining a bright, safe, clean, polished environment for our customers. This video will cover 5 main topics: daily preparation, machine inspection, daily polishing, stain removal, and blade replacement. Daily preparation. Inspect your store floor for any large debris that might be left on the floor that could potentially cause damage to the cleaning machine or the Diamabrush tools. Always be sure the Diamabrush tools are on the automatic scrubber. Machine inspection. Check to ensure the batteries are fully charged. Examine the squeegee to make sure it is clean and pliable. Make sure the recovery and solution tanks on your machine are in good working order. Operators should operate the automatic scrubbing machines on the store's interior floors only. Never use the Diamabrush tools in the vestibule or on wood floors. Operate the floor scrubber with the brush down pressure set at its maximum level. The water setting should be set at medium level. Keep the scrubber's vacuum running at all times to ensure that you are picking up the water left on the floor. When installing the Diamabrush tools on your scrubber, be sure the machine is off and the scrub deck is in the raised position. Connect the tools with the connectors on your Diamabrush tools to the machine. Daily polishing. It is important to separate the polishing process into 2 phases. Phase 1, restoration, and Phase 2, maintenance. Restoration phase. The restoration phase will be taking your dull, rougher floor and transforming it to a smooth, polished concrete floor. If your Diamabrush representative has determined that your store doesn't need the restoration phase, then you'll be able to move directly into the maintenance phase. To achieve the best results with the Diamabrush polishing system, you will be restoring small sections of your store at a time. Work with store management to determine the best schedule to restore the floor. Putting in the time to clean floors using Diamabrush is essential to transforming our store floors. It is important that prior to starting the restoration, to move displays or tables off the section to be restored. Be sure all merchandise on the shelves is pushed in and not sticking out of the aisle. Your Diamabrush representative has given you the number of Diamabrush steps. It will be either 3 or 4 steps. For floors that aren't as rough, you will need only 3 steps. For rough floors, you will need 4 steps. If your store has a 4-step restoration system, start with Step 1, the blue 200 grit copper tool. Then Step 2, the green 400 grit copper tool. Then to Step 3, the red 1000 grit copper tool. And finally, Step 4, the red 1000 grit polymer tool. If your store has a 3-step restoration system, start with Step 2, the green 400 grit copper tool. Then to Step 3, the red 1000 grit copper tool. And finally, Step 4, the red 1000 grit polymer tool. The blue 200 grit copper tool is not part of the 3-step restoration system. Regardless if your store is assigned a 3 or 4-step system, you must follow these best practices to optimize the Diamabrush system. Clean the floor in a racetrack pattern, starting from the edge and working your way towards the middle of the floor. This approach will ensure that all the spots on the floor are cleaned equally. The ideal speed when restoring your floor is between 1 to 1.5 miles per hour. If you're provided a 4-step polishing system, you will be restoring a section of the floor that is approximately 750 square feet per cleaning session. If you have a 3-step Diamabrush polishing system, you will be restoring a section approximately 1,000 square feet per cleaning session. 4-step system. Start with step 1, the 200 grit blue copper tool. Place the tools on the floor scrubber and clean for 60 minutes in the same 750 square foot area, doing repeated passes in the racetrack pattern. When completed, the floor should be white and uniform. Now proceed to step 2, the 400 grit green copper tool. Clean the same 750 square foot section for 30 minutes, following the same racetrack pattern. Next, put on step 3, the red 1000 grit copper tool. Lastly, put on step 4, the 1000 grit red polymer tools, and clean the same section for another 30 minutes. After step 4, the section of the floor is now complete. If you have a 3-step Diamabrush polishing system, you will be restoring a section approximately 1,000 square feet per cleaning session. The starting grit will be the 400 grit green copper tool for 60 minutes in the racetrack pattern. 3-step system. Start with step 2, the green 400 grit copper tool for 60 minutes in the racetrack pattern. When completed, put on step 3, the red 1000 grit copper tool. Lastly, put on step 4, the 1000 grit red polymer tools, and clean for 30 minutes. Once you have completed all the steps, that section of the store will be restored to a high shine. Be sure to move all of the items that were moved, like pallets or displays, back to their original position on the floor. If you have a 3-step or 4-step system, you will use the first step in your store for 60 minutes. The steps thereafter will be 30 minutes each. If you have a restored store floor, you will always maintain the floor with the Diamabrush 1000 grit red blades. If you have an extremely smooth floor and you don't need restoration, use the 2000 grit tan blades. The 2000 grit blades will only be used in select stores. This will be noted by your Diamabrush trainer. During the restoration phase, it is beneficial to map out the entire store and set up a daily schedule that tracks the aisles that have been restored. When focusing on longer, wider aisles, such as action alleys, restore small sections at a time. These aisles are much larger than the individual side aisles and will take multiple days to complete. Taking this focused approach to polishing the floors results in a polished floor quickly and evenly. Restore small sections, 750 to 1,000 square feet per day, until the entire store is restored to a smooth polish. After you've completed a cleaning session using the Diamabrush system, be sure to clean the recovery tank in your automatic scrubber. Empty the dirty water into your store's approved location. Next, use a hose to rinse the recovery tank to be sure it is clean for the next day's use. Flushing the recovery tank daily will keep our scrubbers working properly. Recap: the machine should always be used on maximum down pressure and on medium water. When restoring your store floor with the 4-step restoration system, you will need the blue 200 grit copper tools, the green 400 grit copper tools, the red 1000 grit copper tools, and the red 1000 grit polymer tools. When restoring your store with a 3-step restoration system, you will need the green 400 grit copper tools, the red 1000 grit copper tools, and the red 1000 grit polymer tools. Maintenance phase. There are 2 maintenance grits in the Diamabrush system: the 1000 grit red and the 2000 grit tan blades. During the maintenance phase, your team will use the final step Diamabrush tools to clean the entire store floor daily. Diamabrush maintenance tools should be used on all automatic scrubbers on the sales floor at all times for normal cleaning. Other diamond polishing systems are not permitted to be used in Walmart stores. Continuous cleaning with the Diamabrush blades will improve the floor and keep it polished indefinitely. Cleaners should operate the automatic scrubber at the normal pace when in the maintenance phase, about 3 miles per hour. If your store has an autonomous scrubber, you will use Diamabrush maintenance tools on these machines as well. If aisles receive excessive traffic and begin to dull, simply make a few extra passes to restore the shine. Stain removal. Using Diamabrush, you now have the ability to remove stains on our floors. When removing stains, operate the floor scrubber with the brush down pressure set at its maximum level. Always lower the water level to the lowest setting. The Diamabrush maintenance tools you are using to clean the floor can remove many topical stains just through repeated passes. Simply run the Diamabrush maintenance blades over the stain in a back and forth motion. Running 8 to 10 passes over the stain will remove many of them. If the stain has penetrated the concrete deeper or a spill has etched the concrete, you will need to use the Diamabrush stain removal tool. The stain removal tool is the red 1000 grit copper tool. You can do spot stain removal just over that stain. You do not have to restore the entire section or aisle. With the stain removal tool, do repeated back and forth passes to remove the stain. Typically, you will need to do 6 to 10 passes to completely remove the stain. When the stain has been removed, you will put your maintenance tools back on the scrubber. Run 10 passes back and forth over the stain that you are removing. Repeated passes will darken the floor back up and polish it. Note, the spot you have removed can look lighter in color for a short time until repeated daily cleaning passes occur over the next week or so. Once your stain removal is completed, be sure to put the green stain removal tools in a safe place so they are not used again until the next stain removal session. This tool should not be used for daily cleaning. Blade replacement. Tracking the blade life is a critical part of the polishing process. A blade is considered worn if there is no longer color or grit remaining on the blade. It is extremely important not to run the Diamabrush blades past the color portion, as you could potentially cause damage to your machine. Make sure you are checking the Diamabrush tools at least once a week to assess the remaining blade life. If blades look to have approximately 1/4 inch or less of the colored portion remaining, it is time to reorder new blades. Using a number 3 Phillips head screwdriver, unscrew the 4 screws on the black blade retainers, remove and dispose of the worn out blades. Insert the new blade in each individual blade retainer quadrants with the flared edge pointing away, outward, through the slots in the retainer. Failure to properly install the blades will prematurely wear out the blade. Reinsert and tighten the 4 screws to ensure the blade retainers are tightly fit to the brush block. Then reinstall the brushes to the machine. If blades are low in color, let your manager know that new Diamabrush blades will be needed. All Diamabrush maintenance blades are available in GNFR. Using the Diamabrush system will ensure our floors are clean and polished indefinitely. If you have any questions or you need additional support restoring your store floor, please contact a Diamabrush representative at 855 DB Tools.